if this is AO, this is great. It's not telling me if I'm live or not. Hang on, guys. I see your comments. Sorry. You know, it wouldn't be me if things didn't go wrong and if I wasn't late. So, you know, that's just kind of the way my life works, and I accept it, and hopefully y'all can accept that from me as well. My name is Shelley Merrell. I am here to do a live mentor session. I see you guys all chiming in. Thanks for the support and the help, guys. I really appreciate it. Trevor, I miss you. Got to get you back in accountability. I am here tuning in from Ventura, California. I own a fire protection company. I have been a little bit missing in action lately because I've been in the process of moving to a 21-acre ranch that has been kind of a shock to my system. It actually has made me sick with allergies and all other kinds of things. Some of you know some of the things that have been going on, but we are going to work through. We're going to prevail on getting this place the way I want it to be. So anyway, thank you. I'm sorry I've been gone. I'm back. So here we go with some questions, and hopefully my answers will, or my opinions will help you guys along a little bit. All right, my first question is from Joe Nugent. Hi, Joe. Looking forward to seeing you in a few weeks, hopefully. Question: what am I allowed and not allowed to do with a 1099 independent contractor as far as providing computers, company phone, etc.? Background: I own a home inspection and home watch company in Naples, Florida. In order to grow, I need to meet more realtors. I'm bringing onto my team a telemarketing position. It's a good move. They will be classified as a 1099 team member. Am I allowed to give them a company phone and or laptop, or do they need to use their own since they're a 1099? This new position will allow me to be introduced to several hundred, I'm assuming realtors, per week. Elevator pitch. I work with people buying a home to inspect it prior to closing to ensure that the home is safe and all systems and components are working properly. I also work with seasonal residents to look after their slice of paradise. Joe, I needed you on my slice of paradise. I can't even believe some of the stuff passed inspection. So I look forward to you being kind of a champion to the home inspection industry of getting things a little bit more up to par. So anyway, we'll talk about that later when I see you. As far as 1099 independent contractors, I personally have never had a 1099 independent contractor that I viewed as an employee. I'm afraid of that. Being in California, they are so strict with who is 1099, who's not 1099. You can think somebody's a 1099 person, and just one little thing will switch them over to employees. So I stay away from that altogether. Everybody I work with is an employee. But with that being said, the people I know here who do use 1099 independent contractors, they do not provide anything. They do not control any of their time. It's that independent contractor's phone, their computer, their car to go somewhere to go do those inspections. They are not on workers' comp, and you can't control their time. That is my understanding of what a 1099 independent contractor is. Now, the state of Florida may have different definitions or regulations or even case law that could be looked at. But here in California, it's very risky to classify somebody as a 1099 contractor. I just stay away from it. I don't do it. I don't want to be in trouble. And hopefully that helps. But yeah, definitely follow up with the state. And if you do go with a 1099 independent contractor, I wouldn't give them anything. You know, they get their fee to do the job with the tools they have that they claim they can do for you, and that's it. I hope that helps. Please feel free to reach out if I can help in any way, or if you even need to just bounce ideas around. I'm always a click away. Actually, that's for all you guys. I'm always just a click away. Okay, next question is from Alex Wilkins. Should I create an employee handbook? Most of you probably already know my answer to this, but let's see. The business description and background is I was thinking about how I am transitioning into a better leader manager. That's awesome. You always got to have that on your mind. Should I create a handbook for my workers so they know things are changing and I'm shifting my attitude and mindset towards new goals on how the business should be run? I believe an employee handbook should be created before any employee is ever even hired from the get-go. If you're behind the 8 ball and you have employees and you still don't have an employee handbook, it's not too late. Get one in place. Get one in place and make sure that you are following your state's regulations and guidelines. I highly recommend consulting with an HR professional. Usually the fee is not much to at least get you on the right path with that. It is so important to make sure that everybody is on the same page. It goes back also to core values, which Sean talks a lot about, and I now talk a lot about too. It does go back to the core values. If you don't have your core values and an employee handbook, you can have a rogue employee that becomes a cancer to everybody else in your company, and it becomes bad really fast. So if I were you, I would definitely invest in getting an employee handbook created as quickly as possible. And again, check with your state and local jurisdiction, consult with the HR person, shouldn't cost that much money, and feel free to reach out if there's anything I can help you with. I absolutely will. If you want to look at my handbook, I'm fine with that. You know, just reach out and let me know. Okay, the next question is from Ricardo Delgado. Based on the current economy, any negotiating tips as I go to renegotiate my retail lease for my barbershop? Background is I have a barbershop with a 4-year lease with 12 years secured. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the 12 years secured means. So send me a message and let me know what that means. Or if somebody else knows, let me know. Would I be able to negotiate that? Also, when I first started, I used my personal name to sign the lease, but now I have an LLC. Can I transfer the lease to my LLC as well? I believe you can transfer that. In most cases, I believe it's just a matter of filling out a document and sending it into your state that would transfer that name over to the LLC. I do highly recommend, if you have an LLC in place, that everything business related does get transferred into that LLC name. It just kind of keeps things cleaner. And if you were to ever be audited, or the state comes at you for something, or the federal government comes at you for something, it's just easier to have that clean. So if you can get that put in, yes, I highly recommend doing that. As far as negotiating tips to renegotiate your lease, I don't have a crystal ball, but if I were in that situation, I would feel like it might be a little bit hard to do renegotiating at this point in time. It depends on the owner of the property. If the owner of the property is a large conglomerate that owns all kinds of businesses, they have a lot of sorry, I lose my words all the time. If they have a lot of stuff vacant that they can't seem to get rented, but yet they're on the hook for like their mortgage payments or their loan payments, they may be more interested in doing the renegotiating. With interest rates going up, it could be risky as to whether or not they will say yes or no, but it really depends on who your owner is. If the owner is a person who owns maybe 1 or 2 locations, they're trying to build their asset portfolio and they depend on that money to basically make that payment, it's going to be really hard. However, it does go back to, you kind of can leverage the fact that, well, do you want to renegotiate with me and keep me a known entity in this place? Or do you want to risk having it be vacant for 3 years? It's something to really think about. And kind of what I would do in your position is I would put all the different scenarios that could happen out. I'd write them out. I'm a big fan of putting stuff on sticky notes and throwing it on a wall and just kind of like war room talking it out, seeing how I want to do it. But there are some ways you could potentially leverage it depending on the position of the owner of the property. Now, I do also have a question. I'm a big believer in building your asset profile. So is it at all possible that you could possibly buy a location that you could have as your barbershop? Maybe it could have other places and you could be the landlord. You could be the one renting spaces out to other people. I'm always trying to kind of look at that aspect as well. Depending on where you are in the country, some commercial real estate is available mainly because of the economy. If you can time it right and get in with a still fairly good interest rate and potentially be not only your own landlord but other people's landlords, that might be something you might want to consider and look at. Anyway, those are some thoughts. Again, message me if you want to bounce some ideas around. I would love to hear how you proceed with that. And yes, I do believe that in most states, transferring the name from personal to an LLC is just a matter of filling out a form with the that state's regulation. I'm forgetting which our state is right now. I lose my words too easily, but I think you get the gist of what I mean. A Secretary of State, that's it. Sorry. Check with your Secretary of State. Okay, so the next question comes from AJ Couts. Hi, AJ. I haven't seen you in a while because I've been missing in action. I hope all is going well. He asked, how can I prepare my business to survive in the event of my passing? Business description is, well, the question, recently my wife and I, co-owners of our business, had a living will drafted for the protection of our children and assets. Going through the process, we realized we need a contingency plan for the business too. From a legal perspective, we have that figured out. However, from a process perspective, I'm not sure what we should have in place or prepared ahead of time. If we were to pass, we want the new ownership to be as equipped as possible to pick up the pieces and continue. Thanks. AJ, it's great that you are thinking along these lines, because anything can happen to any of us at any given time. There are no guarantees. It's great that you're doing your estate planning on, the personal side of that, making sure that things are taken care of. From a process perspective, I am a big fan of having a video training library. That can live on in infamy, if you have your processes completely documented on video, anybody can pull that up. Anybody who has the password, or however you protect that intellectual property, could pull that up and follow those processes. That's going to be golden, and that's how I would recommend it. It wouldn't hurt to have an SOP, a standard operating procedure manual, that goes hand in hand with those videos. And I believe, and somebody can comment in here, because I know I've heard of this before, but I believe there are apps where you can send a video and it will transcribe to Word what it said. So you could easily have your SOP manual that goes hand in hand with your video, and have that in place to where anybody could pick it up and run that company. So those are my recommendations. Okay, let me see here. I hope that helps. Oh, also, since you're on that topic of looking at things, exit strategy wise, I do know that Sharon Lecter, with another person, who's one of the top exit strategy people in the country, I think, they did produce a book, published a book called Exit Rich. So you might want to take a look at that and see if there's any tips, tricks, stuff in there that can also help move you along in that process. I hope that helps. Okay, the next question is, I got Ricardo Delgado again. All right. His question is, how do I go through the interview process of hiring? Is it okay to interview outside the business? The business description of this is, how should I structure an interview so I'm clear about the expectations? Should I build certain questions and stick to the same ones every interview? I'm looking to improve my process in any way possible. Thank you for any insight. Okay. So, yes, I highly recommend having basically, like Tom would create a sales script for you, I highly recommend you have a script of interview questions you want asked. The reason for that is, if you're comparing applicants, it's much easier to compare apples to apples if they're all answering the same questions than apples to oranges if you're just going off of feeling. And, you might have a really great question to this person, and then you forget to ask it over here to this person, and it could be the difference between who you pick. So I do highly recommend you have a structured list. Go through that for doing any kind of interviewing. I'm not sure where you're at in your process, but in my process, working with Sean and going through leadership and stuff, I've actually signed on, and I am a big proponent of the culture index. It's kind of one of those personality survey type things where they analyze many aspects of somebody's personality and give you a broad definition of where that person would fit in, and what it does, and what it has helped me do is fitting the right people in the right roles, because it's so easy to hire the wrong people. It's just so easy. That day that you're interviewing somebody, that is the best you are ever going to see that person. I guarantee it. So if you have any kind of a red flag going on during an interview, you're done. Like, it's never going to get any better than that. And I would go out on a limb and say that's not just my opinion, that is fact. I know we're only supposed to give our opinions here, but, you know, sometimes you gotta throw in a little bit of stuff. You can only see something happen so many times before you realize, you know what, that's just the way it is. And the day of the interview is the best you're ever going to see that person. Okay, so hopefully that helped. Okay, the next one is Liliana Bratton. I hope I said that right. I think I did, Bratton. Okay, question is, should I take out another loan to fund the new location, setup, and equipment? The background is, I'm opening a new location to move from our current pet grooming salon. Our current location has building maintenance issues and can no longer suit our client volume. The new location's monthly lease rate is triple what I'm paying now. It has been very difficult finding a location that even allows pet grooming. Okay, so when I read this question at first, I thought you meant you were opening an additional location. But reading deeper into that, what I'm finding is you're actually looking for a place to move your current business. And if that's not my understanding, go ahead and correct me. I'll, take a look at it. But I'm gonna resort back to the same question that I had before with the other question. Is it an option for you to look at a property to buy for your business? I mean, you're saying right here it's hard to find a location that even allows pet grooming. Is it possible to buy your own location so that you can set your own rules and groom whatever animals you want to groom? I mean, you could groom llamas for all I care. Whatever. You could have elephants come in and take a bath, whatever the case may be. Is it possible, if you're going to have to take out a loan to fund moving to this new location and getting better equipment and all that, why not look and see if you could buy your own location? I am a huge fan of building your assets. I follow Sharon Lechter's philosophy on that. The more assets you have, the better. If it was, say, for instance, a strip mall that had other businesses in it too, just like I said on that last question, maybe you could be a landlord to some people, and those people could be paying your mortgage. It's just, if at all possible, it's better to not put oneself in a corner and just kind of look and see if that is an option. Because who wants to live by other people's rules if you don't have to? As far as taking out another loan, it's hard for me to say, because another loan, I don't know what your first loan is or any previous loans are. So I couldn't really comment on your financial status. However, if you are thinking about doing a loan, I would definitely be looking at that asset, the asset portion of it. And feel free to private message me if you want to talk more about that later. I can give you my opinions, what I would do. And I don't know, I just really strongly believe y'all should be building your assets as much as possible. As long as you don't take yourself out in the process, if that makes sense. Anyway, okay, next question. Allison Koyanagi, I hope I got it right. You'll have to let me know if I said that right, because I should get like a brownie button or something if I said that right. Okay, Allison asked, how do you go about hiring the right people for your team? business description and background. I own a digital marketing agency, and I recently hired a project manager for my team. He started off great, was super motivated, and was contributing a lot to the team. Over time, I realized his personality didn't mesh well with the team. He was constantly questioning why we did the things rather than completing tasks, and would try to find ways that he could pass his tasks back to me or someone on our team so he wouldn't have to complete them himself. After talking to him several times with no changes made on his end, I realized that I had made a terrible hiring mistake and let him go the other day. I felt like he had used a lot of my time and didn't contribute much to moving our business forward. How do I avoid this same hiring mistake in the future? Thank you for your time and expertise. Well, Allison, I could have written this same question. I have been in this exact same position. It's horrible. It feels horrible. You give that person the benefit of the doubt. You let him continue to go. You try to help him along. And in the end, it goes back to what I said before. When you're hiring somebody, that is the best you're ever going to see them. Trying to avoid that in the future, I'm not doing it the right way. I'm actually very gun shy right now because of this exact same situation. I mean, I had this happen, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy because I let it go on too long and didn't have my eyes on the company. So I feel your pain, and I definitely feel that you never want that to happen again. And I've said it to many of our fellow members in here that I never want to be in that position again, ever. So I feel your pain. The things that I can recommend and what I have learned since going through it, and what Sean helped me through, because when I met Sean, I was in this boat, this same boat. I learned about Culture Index, and with Culture Index, again, it's that personality assessment thing. I personally chose to do the investment and get signed on with them so that any potential applicant has to fill out the Culture Index survey. I want to see where their personality falls into the spectrum of the Culture Index guide of life. I don't even know what you call it, but that's become a very crucial thing. Another thing is to have a very, very, very clearly defined job description. The more time you spend on your job description, the less of a headache you will have in the end. And along with that job description comes the core values. Sean beat it in our heads early on, core value, core value, core value. I now see the importance of those core values and having them spelled out literally on the wall. I think Heather and Nick and we all have our core values like printed out and on a wall. The importance of that is it gets everybody on the same page. You can, when you're interviewing somebody, you can actually hand them, hey, this is our core values. Have them read through it and say, do you think you can fit into that? Does that sound like the kind of environment you want to be in? Because this is what we're looking for, and if I hire somebody and they end up not fitting into these core values, then they're not going to be very successful here. And we might as well not even waste each other's time, like Sean often says too, and it sticks in my mind, is you free up people's future. Don't hire somebody just because they need a job and you need a warm body and a seat. Like, let's get the right people. It saves so much time in the end, and money. There's also KPIs key performance indicators. You could do some research, Google about KPIs, or reach out to any of us. We can help you. You can set key performance indicators. A lot of people use like an Excel spreadsheet, and it's you can do it with anything actually. You can create anything into a key performance indicator, but it gives you a unit of measure, or a measurable item that you can then judge that person on. And then on top of that, you can do reviews, do quarterly reviews, semi-annual review, annual review, any period of time that works for you. You can do those reviews, and that way you can nip things in the bud. You can give them praise. There's a lot of ways now that I've been through it and have listened to others, of really doing your best to avoid the same situation. At the end of the day, though, you can put your best effort in on getting the right people. At the end of the day, we cannot control others. Things happen to some people. Some people go through life events, may turn to alcohol, may turn to drugs, may turn to this, that, the other. A spouse might leave them to send them into a depression. You're never going to have perfection. Let me take that back. You might have perfection. Don't expect perfection. If you don't expect perfection, then you won't be disappointed. However, you can have high standards, and the sooner you put those high standards out there and they agree to those high standards, the better path you guys will be on, and hopefully it'll be more successful. But honestly, I feel your pain on that, and I think about it a lot. Okay, guys, so that is all of my questions here. Robin, Robin, you have to write the Seanism book at some point, Snack on Happiness. I don't remember that one, but I believe it's a thing. I love all of Seanisms. They're so great, and they do stick with me. And one or two probably crosses my mind every damn day. So I love that. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. I hope to be a little more active more often now that things are starting to kind of settle down. We'll see what happens. But feel free to reach out anytime, and I hope you all have a wonderful month and keep smashing those goals. And hopefully I can figure out how to turn this off.